Welcome back to Zero Effort's, how do you put this, 2-month catch-up review session, if you will. So for the next part of this catch-up, if you will, I wanted to talk about a little thing that's happened in December. Might have heard about it. It's what's it called? Star Wars Episode 7. Now the highest grossing film of all time domestically. So yeah, I want to talk about this particular film just a little bit. Before I get to that, I wanted to kind of cover the original trilogy a bit, seeing as I watched it before I went to go see the new one. So let's talk about the original trilogy a bit. First off, I gotta say this: I've never seen the non-special editions of the films, so I don't have this baggage that a lot of people have of, with like Han shot first and all that. I don't have that baggage. I don't have this chip on my shoulder that feels like that particular scene ruined the character. To me, since that's the way I first saw it, I never got this feeling of, it ruined the character. To me, he was still this dirty, rotten scoundrel that slowly turned out to be a pretty good guy. I never got this, so I never understood this vibe of how it ruined the character. I always thought he was a dirty, rotten scoundrel the whole time. So, I never got that. That said, I agree with a lot of the problems with the special editions, the various ones that have come out since. Too much CG. The Jabba scene in New Hope is a mess. It doesn't need to be there. The CGI's looked terrible then, still looks terrible now, even when they've updated it. And the reason it's a mess is because we just went over this stuff in the Greedo scene that just preceded it, so there's no reason for it to exist in the movie at all. So either cut the Greedo scene or leave Jabba on the cutting room floor where it was. There's no reason to have both scenes. So, yeah. Like I said, the thing about the special editions is the cleanup stuff that they did, clean up some of the effects that looked a little hokey, and some of the minor expansions, like, say, like an Empire Strikes Back, where they expanded on Cloud City and got to see a bit more of Cloud City, and all that. That was good. Good job. Positive. It was adding stuff that didn't really need to go in there, and adding CGI that doesn't work with the film, or audio that doesn't sync up with the rest of the audio in the movie because it's a newer audio. Yeah, that's where it goes crap. So yeah, and there's other stuff that they've done. Hold on a sec. There's other stuff they've done over the years. As DVD and Blu-ray versions have come out, that they've added that were just dumb or silly, that didn't need to be done. We didn't need Darth Vader going no in Return of the Jedi. No, we didn't need that. Just there's so many silly things, but does it ruin the movies at the end of the day? No. Does it make them lesser? A little, yeah. Just because it's so infuriatingly unnecessary. That's the thing. It's like, there's no point in doing this. They're fine the way they are. You didn't need to do all this. Again, the effect cleanup stuff, making sure the films look as good as they possibly can for a modern digital age, That's fine. That's cool. Do that. But we didn't need this extra audio, these extra effects for the most part. You know, we were good. We're fine. It's all good. So, you know, maybe someday in the future Disney will release, you know, some sort of new special edition that has the right mix of, you know, getting rid of the stuff that doesn't work, you know, in the previous special editions, and keeping the stuff that did work, you know, the little, you know, cleanup stuff, you know, that people generally go, yeah, that was good. So I figured I'd get that out of the way first, because that's what most people's opinion on, you know, that's what a lot of people, you know, have different opinions on when it comes to Star Wars, you know. Most people don't like special editions, but there are people that are like me that were raised on them, you know, so we're going to have to throw my 2 cents in on that. But as for the original trilogy, how do I feel about it? I feel about it like most people feel about it. It's freaking great. You know, New Hope's amazing. Empire Strikes Back is even better. Return of the Jedi, not as good as Empire, but, you know, or New Hope, but still a very satisfying conclusion, you know. So there's not really much for me to say that hasn't been said by so many people before me. There's a reason why it's this cultural milestone, you know, in the world, you know, not just in the States and on the planet. It's frigging great stuff, you know. I mean, no matter what stuff is added on top of it to somehow make it worse, the pure greatness of it shines through at the end. Which brings us to Force Awakens, Episode 7. How does it hold? You know, how does it compare? You know, did it bring Star Wars back to life? Well, you know, not this. Just because something's popular and does really well does not necessarily mean it's good. You know, hence, you know, I mean, I brought up that it's the highest grossing film here in the United States of all time now. That said, Episode 7 earned that particular title of, you know, just, oh my gosh. I mean, is it the best Star Wars film? Nah, I agree with most people's consensus. It's probably like the 3rd best one after Empire and New Hope. But yeah, it's really good. You've probably heard a lot of people say that it takes a lot of cues from the first film, and it does. It takes a lot of cues from the original trilogy period. You know, it's very similar to, it has a lot of similarities to quite a few plot points in the original trilogy. But there's enough original content, you know, the new characters are very interesting, you know, and great additions to the story. The acting is really sharp. The writing's solid enough. I mean, you know, Star Wars has never been the most amazingly written series, but at least the dialogue is not nearly as wooden as it's been in the other Star Wars films, period, prequel or original trilogy. You know, it's probably the one thing that was interesting, though, was Harrison Ford is actually a very prominent part of this film. You know, I was expecting him to be like the other two, you know, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. I figured he'd be, you know, a supporting role at best. And I mean, he is a supporting role, but it's a very prominent supporting role. So it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the effects look great. You know, there's some really good practical effects. The CG, of course, is fantastic. It's nice to see that ILM has, you know, started to be able to do more lived-in effects as opposed to the glossy ones that they've been known for the past decade. But yeah, I mean, it's a great addition to Star Wars. It's completely rekindled the a lot of people's fascination with Star Wars as a whole, and it deserves all the praise that it's gotten. Frankly, it's a fantastic flick. I highly recommend it. And so that's it for this one. I wanted to just do a whole Star Wars thing because, again, I watched the original trilogy before I went to go see the new one. And that's it for part 2. See ya for part 3 of 7. Yeah, 7 parts. Talk to you guys later. Ciao.